Trish is going to sing a song now, or an aria, from an opera by Puccini called 𝘮𝘠𝘮. It's not one of his more famous operas. In fact, when he wrote it, he thought the premiere was going to be in Vienna, so he said, oh, I think I want to try and write an opera that seems more like a Viennese operetta. We don't know how successful he was, but he tried to keep it lighter than his usual doom and gloom. And this aria is sung by a woman named Magda at a party. A poet at a party has come up with a song about a woman who leaves a king because she doesn't love him. She could be a queen, but not good enough. Love is what's important. But he says he doesn't know how to finish the story. So Magda pops up and says, I know how it would end. And she sings this aria about this 𝘬𝘰𝘮𝘵 girl. She meets a poor student. He kisses her. It's like fireworks going off. It's love. It's sensuality. Love. It's all these things at once. Next, Catherine's going to sing us an aria from Rossini's opera, An Italiana in Algeria, or An Italian Girl in Algeria. So in Act 1 of this opera, there's a shipwreck off the coast of Algeria, and Isabella here is one of the passengers that makes it to shore. Turns out Algeria is ruled by the Bey Mustafa, and before she arrives on shore, we find out that Mustafa is very bored with his wife and all the women in his harem, and thinks that an Italian lady would be just the thing to put a spring back in his step and a glint back in his eye. And did I mention Isabella is an Italian lady? So as soon as she's rescued, she's getting marched by soldiers back to Mustafa's palace, so she knows what's going to probably happen when she gets there. So that's when she sings this aria about how cruel her fate is and how terrible it is to come up against a tyrant like Mustafa. But she does say then that she needs to be courageous, and it's, now they will see who I am. I know how to tame men with an intent stare or a little sigh. Whether they're sweet or tough, men are all the same, and I know what I need to do to get what I want. Okay, in this next aria, Trish is going to sing an aria from Verdi's aria Don Carlo. She's playing a French princess, Elizabeth de Valois. So when you were a princess, when you grew up, it was expected at some point your father was going to send you to marry some prince you never knew because there was some political treaty to finish negotiating or something. So there was never this expectation that you'd actually like the person you were sent out of the country to marry. Except in this case, she was sent to Spain to marry the King of Spain's son, and they actually fell in love. But then, before they could get married, the King of Spain said, well, I'm single, I should marry her himself. So now this young couple that was in love with each other, she's his stepmother and he's her stepson, which is awkward. So over the course of this opera, things get worse for Elizabeth. The son wants to continue an affair with her, but she's a good girl. She says, no, I can't. I'm married to the king. I made vows. The king has an affair with someone else. The son is in trouble with his father, and the father actually puts him in prison in a while. So now they expect they're going to send him out of the country to save his life, which means she'll be separated from him. So by the end of the opera, she's gone to the tomb of her husband's father, Charles V, to basically say a prayer in front of the tomb, basically, you're past all the vanities of this world. It's a mess. Pray for me, and hopefully I will soon find the peace that you're finding in the tomb. Look, right? The next opera premiered in Vienna in 1762. It's by Gluck, and it's called 𝘨𝘢𝘗 and 𝘀𝘀𝘀. Orfeo's wife Eurydice has died, and More, or Cupid, arrives and tells Orfeo he has permission to go to the underworld and bring her back to the surface. But there are conditions. He can't look at her, and he can't speak to her until they've left. Fast forward, and Orfeo is in the underworld. He's found Eurydice. He's leading her back, but she wonders why he won't look at her and he won't talk to her. And she figures he must have fallen in love with someone else. So She refuses to go any further. At this point, Orfeo forgets he's not supposed to look or speak to her, turns around, looks at her, like, come on, and she dies on the spot. And that's when he sings this aria, "What will I do without my Eurydice? Where will I go without my beloved? I am ever faithful. I can't go on without any help or hope. What will I do? Where will I go?"
I'm just going to say, in opera, if your name is in the title, there's a good chance you might die.
Trisha's going to sing an aria from an opera that's not performed very well often, mainly because it's really big and it's got a lot of leads. It's called La Gioconda. It's by Ponchielli. And this aria is sung by Gioconda herself. Since the beginning of the opera, Gioconda has been pursued by an unsavory man named Barnaba, and she's not hesitated to tell him she's not interested. She loves Enzo, but it turns out Enzo loves someone else named Laura. Back in Act 1, Laura intervened and saved the life of Gioconda's blind mother after Barnaba sicked a mob on her. So, of course, she's in Laura's eternal, she owes her. So she decides, in gratitude, that she's going to help Laura run away with the man she loves, Enzo. So in Act 4, Enzo and Laura do manage to flee Venice together. This leaves Gioconda by herself with Barnaba. She rejects Barnaba again, a final time, and sings this aria just before stabbing herself with a dagger. Catherine's next aria comes from an opera seria by Mozart called the Clemenza di Tito. An opera seria is basically an opera that's a serious one. So it's usually based on a historical or a mythological theme, and usually there's a good moral lesson at the end of it. He was writing this opera the same time he was finishing Magic Flute. So this is Vitellia. She's the daughter of... Oh, you're Sesto, that's right. Yes, I'm pointing at the wrong person. So Vitellia is the daughter of the previous ruler of Rome, the deceased Emperor Vitelio. Sesto is a young patrician who loves Vitellia. The current emperor of Rome, Tito Vespasian, is looking for a wife, and Vitellia hopes that it'll be her. However, when she hears that Tito is considering someone else, her mood blackens, and she orders Sesto here to plot and kill Tito. In this aria, Sesto tells us that he will go and do what Vitellia has requested. God has given Vitellia such beauty, how can he not fulfill her wish and avenge her wounded pride? Well, at the end of the opera, they're not successful killing Tito, and of course the great moral lesson is that instead of the emperor putting her and Vitellia to death in some barbaric, horrible fashion, he decides to give them clemency, which is a moral virtue. So we're going to end the first half of the program with a great example of sad Handel, a very pathos-ridden duet from Handel's opera called Giulio Cesare in Egypt. We would translate it as Julius Caesar in Egypt. Eminent Canadian historians Wayne and Schuster would tell you it's Big Julie in Egypt. So this happens at the end of Act 1. Sesto has just been arrested because his stepmother, Cornelia, has refused to marry Aquilo, an Egyptian general. They sing, they were born to weep, they were born to sigh, and if they need further consolation, they can always weep some more.
evening again. I'd like to invite you all to wander back in this direction as our performers return. What a beautiful evening so far. I had just confessed to our performers that I am somewhat underexposed to the medium of opera, and I am enjoying this immensely. I hope you are as well. I also want to share with you that this concert, again, is in benefit of the Common Table. I've had some folks ask me, what is the Common Table? We are a drop-in community that exists in this building. Monday to Friday, each morning, people come here for various reasons. Many think of us as a food program, and we are that. We have undoubtedly the best soup of any drop-in in all of Toronto. And we are happy. I see some people here who actually cook soup, so they can contest along with me. Along with the food program, we have our drop-in that really is the core of the community, a place for people to come and feel safe, to find something in one another that's not accessible to them in the harsh treatment that they often get on the streets. It's a place for people to come and have access to services in a way that they don't have available to them anywhere else. For many people, it's very much life-saving. Many of them, I can appreciate, come to us as part of a very uncommon journey. This afternoon, as I was listening, I thought to myself, could I imagine being a French princess? Could I imagine traveling through the underworld? And I wonder if we can imagine ourselves in the shoes of those who sit with us in the Common Table. How do our friends living on the street begin their journeys? How do we imagine that they begin their journeys? What are our conceptions of how people end up in this situation? We have a medical student who was run over by a car once by accident and then a second time maliciously. We have a man who could not bear the loss of his daughter. I have members of my own family a decade into their battle with substance abuse and mental health and addiction. What's most common to each of their stories? We have our guesses. Drugs, poor choices. Among those who attend the Common Table, the common thread that ties them all together is that in their lives they have suffered incredible trauma and unbearable loss. And it makes me realize that as I consider their journeys, many of us in their shoes could not stand up under those circumstances by ourselves either. And they, in our circumstances, likely would be thriving as well. There's a thinness between where they are and where we are. But as we're here this afternoon, we also acknowledge that their journey is not over. Being on a journey implies that you haven't reached the end of your story. And there's a way for us to help people out of their desperation. There's a way for many of these folks to end their story returning to a place of wellness and thriving. This is often only possible when others enter into our journey in a posture of benevolence, a hand up rather than an eye turned away. So today, I invite you to help share in this hand up for those who represent the most vulnerable in your neighborhood by giving to the Common Table. There are a few ways to do that. At the back, there is a tip-tap machine that we have put out. It's how people can use a credit card to tap. There are various amounts. All that money will be going to the Common Table. There is a box that is set up for cash. There is a lovely man called Martin at the back who is able to help us set up our monthly giving with the QR code there. There's a QR code here. The most helpful way for us to receive this help is in a monthly fashion, because we know month after month there will be enough food on the table, a warm space for people to come into. If you are watching online and you're finding any of these ways inaccessible, thecommontable.info is the way to find information about us. Thank you very much.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to start the second half with two items from Puccini's opera, Madame Butterfly. So the story is that there's a young Japanese lady named Cho-Cho-san. She's in Japan. An American naval officer sails into the port. It's when Japan's getting opened up to the outside world. They fall in love, get married, but fairly soon afterwards, his ship, he has to leave with his ship, so he sails away. So the first item is a duet. At this point, they see his ship coming into the harbor. Cho-Cho-san has always been very confident he's going to come back. Her maid Suzuki has never been that confident, and is always the girl saying, "Are you sure he's coming back? Are you prepared if he doesn't?" But at this point, they know it's his ship, and Cho-Cho-san is beside herself. They got to go out into the garden. They've got to pick every flower they find and put it in the house, to the point maybe she's even going to shake that cherry tree so the delicate blossoms fall down and she can gather them up and put them on the tatami mats inside. At one point, Suzuki says, if we take every flower out of the garden, it's going to look like it's winter out here. And Cho-Cho-san says, "My tears have watered that soil for 3 years. They can bloody well give me all the flowers." And then after that, Trish is going to sing the famous aria, 𝘰𝘩𝘢𝘵, which happens slightly earlier in the opera. At that point, she's had a little bit of a fight with Suzuki, because again, Suzuki's saying, "What if he doesn't come back?" And she says, "No, one fine day, that ship's going to come in, and he's going to climb up that hill, and when he's coming up that hill, he's going to call me my little butterfly, my little verbena, and we'll all be perfect again."
Oh,
The Italian composer Donizetti lived in Paris from 1838 to 1840, and during this period he composed The Daughter of the Regiment. That's the opera that this next aria is from. It premiered in February of 1840, and the premiere was a real disaster, mainly because they had a tenor that couldn't sing in tune. And anybody that knows that opera knows the most famous thing out of the opera is a tenor aria that has like 7 or 8 or 9 high C's in a row. So how we ended up with a tenor who couldn't sing for the premiere. Anyways, the composer 𝘨𝘢𝘁𝘀, who also worked as a music critic, was not impressed by Donizetti, and complained that that year every opera house in Paris was doing nothing but operas by Donizetti. Of course, maybe he was jealous because none of his operas ever caught fire. And Donizetti, in turn, found his Parisian stay was hard on his self-esteem, and he didn't feel appreciated while he was there. Maybe that's why you have lines in this aria where he talks about the French being brigands, or real bandits or thieves. So this is near the beginning of the opera. It's the Marquise de, what's her name? Birkenfeld. So the Marquise de Birkenfeld is traveling along in her carriage, and she happens to wander into an active war zone. And she is pained to discover that even those born to a high stature like herself are no longer treated with the respect that she feels she is owed. In fact, at one point, she practically has a case of the vapors, and her maid has to start searching for the smelling salts. If you're an opera-going person, you may have seen an opera that has King Herod and Salome in it and John the Baptist, and that would be probably Salome by Richard Strauss. But there's another opera that premiered about 30 or 40 years earlier than that. The music was by Jules Massenet, and it was named after Herod's wife, which in French is 𝘨𝘢𝘆𝑗𝑎d. So in this opera, the way these characters are arranged, Salome is an orphan because at some point, soon after her birth, Herod said to his wife 𝘨𝘨𝑗𝑎d, drop everything, let's go to Palestine. And they did. They dropped everything, including their infant daughter, and took off. So she's been wandering the known world ever since as a poor orphan looking for her mother. And she's heard a rumor that perhaps her mother's in Jerusalem. And on her way, as she's marching through that hot Palestinian desert, getting close to Jerusalem, she comes across a crowd of people listening to John the Baptist preach. And as soon as she hears his voice, he's so sweet, he's so good, all her cares just melt away. Oh, when will I see him again?
Thank you.
Catherine's next selection comes from another Donizetti opera, Linda de Chamonix. Chamonix is in France, up in the Alps near the Swiss border. It's an important day when the opera happens in Chamonix because they have a big mass at the local church, and then all the young people, there's nothing to do in the wintertime in Chamonix, go off to Paris to become itinerant musicians for the winter before they return back to the Alps in the spring. So the main character, this is Linda, is walking to meet an artist, Carlo, that she's sweet on, when she meets a young orphan, Pierotto. Oh, you are Pierotto, right, of course, duh. Pierotto, who sings a song accompanied by his hurdy-gurdy. He sings about how a young girl who leaves home forgets her vows to her mother, falls in love, only to be betrayed, and then returns home to discover that her mother has died, foreshadowing anyone. But don't worry about Chamonix, because these days there's lots to do in the wintertime, because during the winter everybody in Paris straps their skis on their car and heads to Chamonix to go skiing. So.
𝑚
Tricia, I think this might be your last aria. So this aria is by Wagner. It's from his opera called Tannhäuser. 𝘨𝘢𝘍𝘐 is sung at the beginning of the second act. The character Elizabeth sings about how joyful she feels entering the Minnesinger's Hall in Wartburg Castle, where the master singers hold their singing competitions. And now it's especially joyful because Tannhäuser himself has come back after being held as a willing captive by Venus in the grotto of her 𝘨𝑉𝘀𝑉𝘪 mountain lair. A year of sex and women and just unrelenting. It takes its toll. You've just got to get out, guys. So Elizabeth sings about how this hall had lost its sparkle and seemed a dull place without Tannhäuser, but now, once again, she's full of hope and joy. This hall has regained its former place in her heart. So Catherine has come to her final concert, which is going to finish our program today. It's a Handel aria, and it's from an opera called 𝘠𝘰𝘮. 𝘠𝘰𝘮 is a sorceress, and this aria is sung by Ruggiero, a knight, right? I got that one right? Yes, okay, good. It was written for Carestini, one of the celebrated castratos that Handel hired when he was running opera companies in London. Initially, Ruggiero is quite happy staying in 𝘠𝘰𝘮's enchanting island paradise. But eventually he figures out that 𝘠𝘰𝘮 has some bad habits. She lures men to her island, takes them prisoner, although they think they're her lovers, and when she's tired of them, she turns them to stone. In this aria, Ruggiero portrays himself as a fierce hunter off to bag a ferocious tiger. That would be 𝘠𝘰𝘮. The tiger will try to protect itself from the hunter's arrows, but eventually it's true to its character, and bloodlust will draw it out, and there will be a battle. But Ruggiero vows that love will be victorious, and the hunter will end 𝘠𝘰𝘮's reign of deception and terror. If you'd like, we prepared an encore. It's intense, but it's not too long. It's from Gioconda again. So it's Gioconda singing with the woman that runs off their band, Laura.
It's a girl fight.